and he's had the support of a number of structural engineers from Melbourne. So on the back of that, we replied, and I sent out the press release. So, but if you have a look at it, and some of the emails I've got back have been fantastic. They're estimating that there's been 8 million people killed because of September 11 now. You know, there was a 3,000, nearly 3,000 originally, but there's all the people from Iraq, Afghanistan. There's all the people who've been killed through the flooding of opium, since, America and Australia had invaded Afghanistan, where they stopped the production of opium, and now the place is awash with it. So, unless we actually speak up about it, this is going to keep going on. And they've already said, if you read that blueprint for the Project for a New American Century, the wars will not end in our lifetime. The attacks on civil liberties have started. But they didn't actually start with September 11. We actually had them before. We had the Olympic Games in Melbourne the year before September 11, and there was shoot-to-kill legislation come in. That was going to have a 3-year sunset clause. And guess what? It's still in this country. So, it wasn't the start of it. These things were happening before, but it's a catalyst for the acceleration of it. We've got ridiculous laws in this country now, which which actually state that people can be charged for possession of a thing.
Well, I remember the shoot-to-kill orders, and now they're still. I see headlines out of Australia where it says protesters can be shot for no reason. I mean, they just say if they want to kill you, they can just shoot you.
That's right, and they can't. There's no. They can't be charged with anything. If they order the police or the army to shoot our own citizens, they cannot be charged. That was only. It was said, we're just bringing it in for the Olympic Games. But actually, if I can just say something about this, Alex, is that 1 year before September 11, there was a World Economic Forum in Melbourne, and there was a protest that was organised, and it was called the S11 protest, and it was on September 11, 2000. And the World Economic Forum met at the Crown Casino here in Melbourne.
Stay there. Long segment coming up. You won't be interrupted for 18 minutes on the other side. Let's continue there and cover the other issues of the attack on free speech and your ideas for going forward to get a new independent investigation. We'll be right back. President of the Victorian Trades Hall Council for joining us. They tried to demonize him. They tried to make him apologize. He said, no, you cowards don't set the agenda. And it's that type of spirit that's caused the polls to go from 50% thinking inside job to over 70%. And there's multiple polls. We've got Angus and Reid polls here in the United States where 83% question the official story. And as more and more comes out, it's really waking people up. He's going to finish up his point that he was just making about an event the year before on 9/11 in Australia and how all this is used for a police state. But you heard the intro, rallying patriots worldwide. We all want liberty. We all want freedom. We all want to be able to not live under corruption, and terror, staged terror is being used to do it. Now, I wasn't going to do this today, but because Obama has been caught issuing a fake terror alert, Watson is doing an article that'll be out in the next 10 minutes at prisonplanet.com. And just our Conway corruption search earlier this week went #1. So did the 9/11 cover-up. That went #1, had a huge effect. You can do it, folks. We're doing it in the last 30 minutes, but I know you can do it. Search it now. Put it in Google over and over and over again and keep hitting enter, 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 and click on Watson's story and send it out to everyone you know. 2 words, fake terror. That's going to be in our headline. Obama issues fake terror alert ahead of election on election eve. I'm not sure the exact headline, but it's going to have fake terror in it. Obama issues fake terror on eve of election. That article is coming out right now at prisonplanet.com. That article is coming out. So we want to search the term fake terror so people understand that this was another fake event. Fake terror. Okay, that is the search term. 2 words, fake terror. Do it on Yahoo as well, other search engines. Make it the #1 search term. You guys never fail. Fake terror. Let's do it together. In fact, while Kevin's talking, I'm going to be entering it into Google here in front of me on my computer screen. Fake terror. Okay, Kevin, you got interrupted by the break. You've got the floor on that issue. Any other points you want to make? Then I've got some questions.
Yeah, there was the S11 protest, which was against the World Economic Forum. Now, it was a very peaceful protest. The first day we successfully stopped all the participants from getting in there. on the second day, they put pressure on the Victorian government, and they said to go ahead and give them the green light to attack the protesters. So, yeah, there was a tax on them, and then since then they've been paid compensation because of, it was illegally done. But it was just when it happened on September 11, the next year, I thought this is strange. So we started going through, and there was a timelines, about a month later, starting to get put together about troop movements, before Afghanistan, and how they were pre-positioned before September 11 actually happened. And it became suspicious, and I started emailing information around to people. And anyway, I sent it around. Next thing I pressed it, I thought, I'll have a look at see what I've sent here. When I pressed it, all this pornography started coming up. And so actually, I got said stopped doing it for a while because I thought, geez, I don't want that to go out. As if it's stuff I'd never ever looked at. I don't do it. But yeah, I thought, geez, I'm not going to send out this. So I was shut down, from actually sharing information around. And there's a number of ways that people use it of shutting people down. So, but the good thing is, I'm so happy that this story's actually got out now. And people are listening to it and starting to ask questions for themselves.
Now, other points, other issues that you want to talk about before I get to my questions.
Yep. Well, I suppose it's not only it's so far-reaching the effects that the September 11 has had on our place. For a start, at our work, going to work on the wharf now is like going to prison. You've got to swipe for cards. You've got to have a maritime security identity card. If you haven't got a maritime security identity card, you can't work on the wharf, and you can't go work on a ship. You can't work in the offshore oil and gas industry. It's so farcical, mate, because seafarers, from overseas are actually in there. They wouldn't know where they're from. And then they've just introduced another 190 crimes, which are going to stop people from having an MC card. So
I was about to say it's the same model worldwide with this cashless grid. They're now saying if you have bad credit, they're not going to let you have a security clearance, and they're going to basically make almost all jobs be under this infrastructure protection. So this is a new form of tyranny to decide who can have jobs and who can't.
Exactly right. And first off, it starts about terror. Now we've got legislation in this country with the Australian Building Control Commission, which actually is similar. If people no longer have the right to remain silent, if they're brought up and they work on a building site, if they don't tell the Australian Building Control Commission, then they actually face a 6-month jail term. So it actually takes away from you the right to remain silent in this country. So it starts off first it's against terrorism, then it's against building workers, then it's against bikie gangs, then it's against the next thing. They'll say, why do we let criminals go out like this? So everyone will be guilty without even being charged. The whole basis that, you're innocent until proven guilty has been turned on end by this legislation. What we need to go back and have a look at is that September 11 was a crime. It was mass murder. Why hasn't one person been charged with that? And remember, if there was 19 people on those planes, there would have been at least 300 people, backing up to support them. Why hasn't one of those persons been charged, And if you have a look at the 9/11, commission, it was a farce, And there's an urgent need to actually have another look, because if we do that, then we could probably have a look at what we're doing in Afghanistan, what we're doing in Iraq. That's not about liberating people. That's about corporate control, Innocent Australian people getting killed, the people in Afghanistan and American, people. If you were going to send our young people off to work and you ask them to put their life on the line, you want to make sure you've got bloody good reasons to doing it, and that hasn't been done. So, a number of things can be fixed up. If we start operating on truthful principles, then everything will be all right.
Absolutely.
If we start operating on the lie, no good's going to come of it.
Well,
there's a real need to call for an urgent inquiry back into September 11, and let's find out who really did it, and let's actually bring justice to bear on them, and let's conduct it without fear or favour and see wherever it takes us,
Well, very well said. And what's happening in England, the continent of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, the U.S., it doesn't matter. Everywhere where we get the internal documents in England, in Australia, in the United States, and law enforcement sends them to us, 95% of the Homeland Security or Security Service training has nothing to do with foreign Muslims. It's all about gun owners, property rights activists, farms, ranches,
unionists.
Pardon me?
Trade unionists.
Absolutely.
What it does, it stops, it stops our ability to organise. We can't get on the job half the time now because we've got to go through the security protocols, So it's not just, it's anyone from operating independent, and it's to take power away from people and actually give it to, big business and, corporations and government.
Absolutely. It's their pretext to take over society, and it's aimed at anyone who wants to be independent and free. This is this shadowy terror enemy that can never be defeated, never can be identified. And now they're saying here in the U.S., it's gun owners, it's returning veterans, it's people that are against big government, it's people that are against police state, that we're the #1 terror threat. I mean, this is so transparent. So people say, oh, 9/11's 9 years ago. Why do you care? Because 9/11 has been used as the foundational event to totally take our free societies and turn them into nightmare police states.
Exactly right. So, while we keep going along with this, it's going to get worse and worse. So, Mussolini, he said he was supposed to be the first fascist leader. He said, I prefer not to call it fascism, I prefer to call it corporatism. It's the merger of the state and the corporation. Well, have a look what's happening now. People have got to wake up to it.
Well, we appreciate your courage. I want to get into some of my questions now specifically for you. There's a quote here where you got back on his radio show with your right to respond because he'd been demonizing you, and you exposed the host, because you had his email that he'd invited you on before and then acted like you just called in, just showing the deception. And Mr. Bracken stood by his comments and said he had the support of 50% of the community. He also attacked Fain, claiming he was ridiculed on yesterday's program. Here's your quote. Unfortunately, and I love it, unfortunately, cowards like yourself have set the political agenda in this country for too long, said Kevin Bracken. I won't be cowered down to bullies like yourself. And the fact is, you stood up to him. You didn't care about the demonization. When the Prime Minister, here's the Sydney Morning Herald, PM blast, stupid 9/11 conspiracy comment. There's quotes here by members of your parliament calling for you to be shut up or for you to get in trouble for your speech. And they really showed people the naked tyranny that they want to try to bring in. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm a member of the ALP, which is a party, that Julie Gillard represents. So, and it's not. This is about not questioning it. In Australia, this hasn't got any oxygen at all. So that's why I was so happy that actually the news was coming out. Even though I didn't mind being ridiculed, because what I'm saying is right. And actually, everyone wanted to interview me that night. Since then, not one person's rung up. When the poll started saying that they supported me, I haven't had one offer from the mainstream media to speak. The only time I've spoken is on a podcast, and there's a good one. There's John Bursell. He's been doing a lot. He's an aircraft engineer from Sydney. He's got visibility911.com, and there's a podcast I've done on there. And 911oz.com also was another one too, which John's been very active about, and he's probably been the #1 person that's kept this going too.
So to be clear, they coaxed you onto the air thinking they were going to be able to demonize 9/11 truth. It blew up in their face. But for the first day or two, they didn't know that, so they were really trying to hype it. But as soon as they saw the public agreed with you, 70+%, they panicked, and they're hoping this goes away, showing the power we have in continuing to raise this issue.
We've just got to speak up. That's all there is, And I congratulate all the people who have done it hard over the years, going out on the street, handing out DVDs, That work's actually taken benefit now. Enough people have questioned it. And most of the people I see give me tremendous support and said, good on you for doing it. And a lot of people don't believe, that's what I've said. But what they do say is wrong is, Hal was just ridiculed. Hal not once did he engage in any debate on the subject, but just tried to ridicule me. And that's been their modus operandi, to get whatever agenda they want to get up in this country.